I want to describe what slope is and then do a couple of examples of calculating slope as in the homework. So here's the generic example for slope. If you have a couple of points on a line, call this point x1, y1, and call this point x2, y2. And there's a line joining those 2 points. The slope of this line, which in this book they use the letter B for slope, is equal to the difference in the y values, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Sometimes they'll write that as the change in y, that's delta y, change in y divided by change in x. And just to give a little geometric interpretation, if I sort of draw in this right triangle here, then this point here is actually the point x2, y1. And so this distance, the distance between these 2 points, is the difference in y values, y2 minus y1. So that's kind of the vertical change from one point to the next. And then this distance, which is the horizontal change, is actually x2 minus x1. So what the slope is, it's the vertical change divided by the horizontal change. Sometimes they use the words rise over run. I don't want to get too crazy about that, but that's the idea. The important thing is to be able to use this formula to calculate slope. And I want to do a couple of examples similar to the ones in the homework. So now we're going to actually calculate slope. Calculate slope. I'm going to take an example very similar to one in the homework. So let's take, this is actually number 6 in the homework. Anyway, it's find the slope. Find the slope of the line containing the points. And I'm looking in the book now. How about negative 5, 2, and 5, 3? Negative 5, 2, and 5, 3. And for the first part, they want to write the slope as a fraction or rational number. Write as a rational number. Okay, so I'm going to do this in a couple of steps. So step 1, I'm going to write the slope formula. Which is B for slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that's my step 1. Then step 2, I'm going to identify the given points as x1, y1, and x2, y2. So in this example, the given points were negative 5, 2, 5, 3. So this is x1, this is x2, this is y1, sorry, it's x1, y1, and then the second point will be x2, y2. So I have x1, y1, x2, y2, I have the slope formula. So then I'm going to plug in, step 3 is plug in the given values to the formula. So here's the formula, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1, but I'm plugging in the given values. y2 was 3, y1 was 2, so it's 3 minus 2, and on the bottom, here's where you have to be careful, x2 is 5. Now there's a minus that's in the formula, and then x1 is a minus 5, so it's 5 minus a minus 5. Now I'm going to just do this calculation all at once on the calculator in the following way. You can calculate the numerator and denominator separately if you like, but I'm going to take advantage of the calculator, and I'm going to put a parentheses around the numerator. So I'm going like this. 3 minus 2, divide, and a parentheses around the denominator, and here's where I have to be careful. It's 5 subtract a negative 5, so notice the subtract was over here, the negative is over here, so it's 5 minus a negative 5. Put a parentheses around the denominator, and when I hit the magic button, it gives me a 0.1. Now that's in decimal form. They wanted this answer in fraction form, so to do that I'm going to go to Math, and the first thing is to frac. So when I hit enter, this will change that 0.1 into a fraction, which is what they want here. So there's 1/10, and that's the answer as a fraction, which is what they asked for, equals 1/10. Now, in the next group, they give you some decimals, and they want you to write the answer as a decimal, and I wanted to do an example like that. So here's another example out of the homework questions. So the question is, find the slope. Here's another example. Find the slope of the line containing the points, how about 2.19, 2.19, and 5.5 and 4. 5.5 and 4. Okay, so here's the slope formula. B equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm going to identify the points. So step 2, 2.19, 5.54. I'm going to identify this first ordered pair as x1, y1. This next ordered pair is x2, y2. And these are the values that I'm going to plug into that formula. So here's step 3, I'm plugging in. And here's the formula, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. For y2 is 4, y1 is 9, so it's 4 minus 9. And on the bottom, x2 is 5.5, and I'm subtracting off 2.1. And you can calculate this separately, the numerator and denominator, but my inclination is to do the whole thing in one shot on the calculator. So I'm going to put a parentheses around the numerator, 4 minus 9, and I'm going to put a parentheses around the denominator, divided by parentheses 5.5 minus 2.1, close the parentheses, hit the magic button. Oh my God, negative 1.47. I guess they say that you can round this to 2 decimal places, so that's equal to negative 1.47 rounded to 2 decimal places.